Disco is fun. 4-on-the-floor beats, syncopated bassline, string sections, horns, electric piano, synthesizers, funky rhythm guitars, and all that glitter on the dance floor. Disco incorporates stylistic elements of popular music styles such as rock, funk, Afro-Cuban music, or Motown. The genre reached its greatest popularity in the years 1977-1978 thanks to the hype of Saturday Night Fever film, which featured music of the Bee Gees. Disco, which started as a reaction by the 1960s counterculture to the dominance of rock music, was suddenly pushed onto the music charts and into major concert venues. With music always comes fashion, and disco has expensive, extravagant and sexy outfits. Well-known artists include ABBA, Bee Gees, Donna Summer, Boney M, Earth, Wind & Fire, Chaka, Chic, Village People and Michael Jackson. Disco as a mainstream genre began to fade during the 80s in the United States, but still maintaining popular status in Europe, India and Middle East. During the 90s onwards, there were several waves of disco revivals, still hugely influencing modern pop music. Nerdy fact: the term discotheque has its origins in France during the Second World War. At that time, live music was banned, so underground clubs turned up into record libraries, aka discotheques, where you could listen or dance to your favorite band records. 3 decades later, where disco migrated into the United States, where all the dance craziness started. So lesson time in a disco style. We are playing on a 2-chord progression, E minor and A7. Let's talk about the notes which are in the chords. That's what you need to know. If you're playing E minor, which notes you can use, and if you're playing A7, which notes you can use for A7. So E minor consists of 3 notes. It's E, G, and B. Right? So again, E, G, and B. A7 consists of 4 notes. That's A, C sharp, E, and G. So this is our basics for the groove. I want to show you 2 very commonly used cliches for playing the disco style groove. First of them is playing 4 on the floor, start with a bass line. It means you are trying to emulate the kick drum sound on the bass line. Right? So what you do, you just mute the note. Right, so when I hit the open E, I don't let it ring, I mute it with my left hand. And I created a little spaces between the notes to get that nice staccato, kick, funky style of a bass line. Feel the groove, make it work. The trouble with 4 on the floor style of playing is that after a while it becomes boring, because you're just playing quarter notes. To spice it up, use a 2-bar trick. So you play 1, 2, 3, and then play some syncopation for the 2nd bar. That will spice it up and it will instantly sound better. And that's exactly what we are using in our example. So let's play it. You see, I add those little elements of syncopation using just basically the notes from the chord, and suddenly you get something which is more moving and more exciting. One famous example, I guess you know this bass line. Rings a bell. Another one's by the desk from the Queen. It uses this formula. And countless other bass lines are using 3 on the floor, 1, 2, 3, and then a syncopation. So that's, you can call it as a cliche. It works every time. Second cliche, what you can use for a disco style bass line, is playing the octaves. So again, if you want to get more funk and rhythm feel of the octaves, play them more staccato. So I mean, It's not easy, to be honest, because you have to mute all the time, so it's a bit tricky, but you can try to make the notes separate. What is important when playing octaves, when you let them ring together, you get more of a rock style bass groove. If you try to separate them, with open string is harder, but it's possible. You hear the difference? All together, separation. Then you can play it with the length of the notes. It also creates the dynamics and the forward motion of the groove. Another thing which is really important when you're playing the octaves, make sure you find the notes which are connecting the chords. So if you're connecting E minor with A7, good connection is through A, F sharp, G, and G sharp. When I play in octaves, boom, nicely in A, landing. And then from A, I'm coming back to E, so I can use descending line, so I'm playing. So we play it together. Second bar. Working always quite easy to achieve. What is important, work on your technique, make sure that you got the note separation. You always want to get that, I call it a kick style bass tone, even if playing the octaves. So and suddenly the discotheque is in your room. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.